Hello and welcome to another episode of Trends of the Nerds. I am here joined by Alex today. Alex, thank you so much for joining me. We got some exciting news. We got a bunch of new movie trailers. We just got the Dune trailer that dropped, I think, yesterday. And we got the new TV shows like The Boys, announcement of the Mandalorian season 2. These are some of the things we're going to be talking about today. I took a little bit of a break from the channel and I'm back again. I'm going to be doing much more episodes, so please stay tuned for that. As always, if you like what you see, if you want more of these, like and share the video, subscribe to the channel. Want to hit 100 subscribers pretty soon. And, and also always give your feedback. If you don't like something, if you do love something, I'll try to do less or more of whatever you like or hate. So yeah, we'll just, we'll just get to know Alex a bit more. Alex, tell us what you like to watch, or what are your favorite movies, TV shows, whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah. Well, I binge watch a lot of everything. I try to keep everything balanced. I do like more of the sci-fi stuff, right? I'm a bit of a nerd in that sense. But I do like to watch a lot of horror stuff as well. I'm very nitpicky with my action stuff. But yeah, I do actually consume a lot. I'm actually like quite a binger.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So, what is like some of your favorite horror movies?
Well, my favorite horror movies. Now I know most people are gonna hate this, especially the purists, but I do actually appreciate like the newer stuff by James Wan.
Okay.
And right, so, I mean, I did watch the earlier stuff back from when I was like in primary school, like the Jason and the Friday series, but then a little bit of that magic, I guess, got broken when I actually went back and rewatched it.
Of course.
And then I started to notice. I mean, with like technology nowadays, right? You really start to see the flaws and the animatronics.
I actually made it a point to go back and watch those movies that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, just to say, oh man, these movies can't hurt me anymore. But there are some movies like, for example, Jeepers Creepers. I don't know. Like if I watch that movies, if I still watch that movie today, it still creeps me out. Hence also the name, I guess. But yeah, I watch the movie, I have trouble sleeping at night. It's like I can't get away from that. I'd say I love horror movies, but nowadays I think horror movies are so subjective. There's like, I know it just hits different nowadays, from back when the slasher horror days. Now it's much more of a slow burn nowadays. Like some horror movies just take so much time to get going. I think the last horror movie I saw was It Chapter 2. But before that, have you seen The Invisible Man that came out, the recent one?
Yes, I did.
That was actually the last movie me and my brother went and watched in the cinema before it shut down. So that was the last movie was in cinema, and that movie was so good. Specifically like it's supposed to be like a thriller movie, but that movie is a horror movie. The way they shoot the scenes, the sounds, and it's a great movie. Watch it if you haven't. Anyway, so let's that's a bit of taste what Alex likes. So let's jump into let's talk about The Boys. The Boys season 2 released 3 episodes last week of their season 2, and I think the next episode is supposed to be coming out later tonight or tomorrow, and they're gonna be doing 1 episode a week. Amazon Prime is. So yeah, first of all, let's talk about the first season, and also spoiler alert for season 1. We're gonna be talking about season 1. I want to keep it light on season 2 because it just came out, so I won't spoil season 2 for you. So yeah, Alex, like you can go into full spoilers. I've said it before, full spoiler for season 1. So Alex, like, what did you think? Have you seen? First of all, you have seen The Boys, right? Season 1. Okay. So what did you think about season 1?
Well, actually, when I saw when the first season 1 trailer came out, and I saw like Butcher, he's like saying like superheroes, like there's collateral damage, and there's people out there that get hurt when they do the superhero antics. when I first saw the trailer, I thought like, that's a really interesting thing. I mean, it's gotta happen, right? With all these massive battles and that take place, like obviously other people are gonna get hurt. And I like sort of like, the angle they took on it, right? So I like, the people, the small people that get trampled on, and sometimes they want a little bit of revenge.
These superheroes are basically like employees of a multi-billion-dollar corporation, right? They have like they have like PR agents, they have schedules, they're making movies. It's not your regular Superman, Spider-Man superhero who have their secret identities, and like these people want to become heroes. They want to be out there. They want to actually join this superhero group called the Seven. So you can think of the Seven as like Avengers or like the Justice League. These are the elite group of heroes, and if you make it, you're like at the top. And it was I just man, like watching season 1, even watching season 2, I love just it's almost satire of our current society, and like just like a parody of what America is really like. And it's kind of scary. If superheroes did exist, it actually would be like how The Boys is. It's just crazy. Oh man, it's such intriguing, and it's such a different take on superheroes, because there was a time when at least The Boys came out, there was a time like, oh man, superheroes are everywhere. You got them in TV shows now, you got them in video games, the movies especially, and they were like, oh, there's superhero fatigue. I think The Boys is a great, it just separates itself from everything else. It's just, I really like season 1. So let's talk about one of the biggest characters in The Boys, Homelander. What do you think of the Homelander, Alex?
Homelander was, I think Homelander, at first glance, he is sort of like, well, the public perception of him, right? He's like this, cookie cutter, superhero. He's sort of like, basically sort of like, the Superman character, He's always good, very PG, he's always got a smile on, very positive. But then he has like these layers to him that it's quite scary, especially like if you just like notice the way like, when things don't go to plan, he has like this awkward smile on his face. Like, I've always found that like really creepy.
The actor, damn, I'm forgetting his name. Sorry, the actor that plays Homelander, he's just like subtle, just facial features. Like you can almost know what he's thinking just by his facial movements, his look. And so with him being like not a carbon copy, like an archetype of Superman, so he's the strongest superhero there is in this world. That's what the show sets up, and he could kill as many people as he wants. He can go or take out the president of the United States, or like whatever. Like he's scary. And I've actually when the show came out after season 1, I went and read all the comics for The Boys, and the show, I can say, like it deviates. It has the backbone of the comics, but the show really does take liberties, and I think that's actually a good thing. It really does keep the show much fresh. Like the Butcher, like his character is actually much more unlikable in the comics than it is here, because I really find Carl Urban a great actor. I like watching him. Watch Dredd if you haven't. He's like Dredd deserved a sequel. So like I really like Carl Urban, and he has this charisma, and man, he's just killing it as Butcher. He's just, he comes in the scene, he owns it, just like Homelander owns the scene. He comes in the scene, he takes that scene. So yeah, the comics, I won't spoil the comics because I'm pretty sure the show will take some more stuff from the comics, but the comics are just as messed up as the show is. And I think the show kind of benefits sometimes from just the gore and just the things you don't think of, because man, in any scene they could do something and you're like it's nothing is off limits for them, like nothing. And I think that's one of the show's strong weaknesses.
It's really shocking. I mean, even just the opening scene where A-Train just runs into his girlfriend. I mean, I mean, you don't think about it, but then you think like, that could happen. Like, what if the Flash was just like running somewhere and then someone was in his way?
Yeah,
He would just like go straight through them.
it's a good. I think it's the perfect opening actually. It's just like this is not the show. If you thought it was some kind of good superhero show, this is not it. They
No.
set they set the tone in the first 10 minutes, and like, okay, this is gonna be a ride, and it's gonna make you very, very uncomfortable many
Yeah.
times. So, and yeah, you're right. It's you brought up the Flash in these all TV shows, movies, whatever. It's like you see Superman or like Flash carry people at the speed of light, and like if the Flash actually picks up and carries someone, that person is just gonna it's like skin will come off their face when it's going
Yeah.
that fast. And I think that's such a good comparison, because I remember the airplane scene where they go, Homelander and
Mhm.
Maeve go to take out the terrorists, but they end up damaging the plane.
Oh
And,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Maeve is asking Homelander to lift up the plane or like do something. And like
yeah,
Homelander
yeah,
is like, he's like, if I have nothing to stand on, and if he flies down and tries to push
yeah,
the plane up, and he's like, I'll just go through this plane. And he was
yeah.
like yeah, like
It,
holy
it,
shit,
it,
like how
it
would you
makes
save
sense,
these
right?
people? Yeah, it actually makes sense. and
Yeah. So,
and Homelander being the absolute like villain, like mastermind
mm,
villain that he is, like he's also a man child, like don't like he's
yeah.
very emotional, but he's been raised in such a way that he's always thinking about himself and his motives,
Hmm.
and he's like uh you know oh man, I think Homeland is such a good villain, and that's what every show
Yeah.
needs. A show always needs a really good villain. So, man,
Hmm.
props to the boys.
Yeah,
Anything you want to
yeah.
call out from your favorite moments from the show?
I think my favorite moments from the show was just, I think, like you said earlier, it's sort of like a satire. Like, I like how the whole superhero thing of theirs is like controlled like a company, right? So they
Hmm.
got the PR department, they do photo shoots, right? They go out for they do ads on TV and stuff.
It's a
So
business.
like it's a business,
Yeah,
right? They
yeah,
really build up this brand of theirs.
yeah.
And I think like I was thinking like if superheroes did like actually were a thing, like it would make sense that like these large corporations would like want to capitalize on it,
Of
right?
course. Where the
Right.
branding,
And
where like
with the branding,
I'm
right?
sure, like yeah.
And like just thinking about it, like I was reading this no, I was reading this comic a while back, and it was of Spider-Man. And I was reading it, and then I kind of stopped reading, and I was thinking like, damn, Peter Parker needs a break. Like he's broke all the
Uh,
time. Like, he's always rushing. Like he can't afford a place for his Aunt May. I'm like thinking like, if I was Spider-Man, I had all these powers. I mean, I would like take a little leeway sometimes, just to help a brother out, just like I know it's not the good thing to do, but like I think a superhero on his own, if he's gonna be doing it on his own, either you're Batman who can afford everything,
mhm.
it's gonna be like you're gonna be like very low budget, You can't afford like the good costumes, you can't afford like all the property damage that happens, like people are gonna
Yeah,
sue you for that.
who takes responsibility, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah. I remember I think the first movie release I remember was Fantastic Four, when they get their powers, and
Hmm.
Johnny Storm shows up with a new costume, and he has all these logos of different companies
Oh,
on his,
yeah.
and he's like,
The-
he was like, oh, because Johnny Storm was like carefree, right? He's like, oh, I was just advertising. And honestly, if
yeah.
superheroes did exist, oh man, branding deals, advertisements, like that's the world we live in now. And the way the boys
Yeah.
uses that to create this very scary, like almost surreal world is like
Yeah.
ah and filling them with the superhero archetypes, like from comics and characters that
Mhm.
have existed for over 50, 60 years, and they're making them, you
Yeah.
know what, these powers are like dangerous, and it's showing us
Mhm.
the perspective of just normal human beings, like the boys are no the boys are just people who have been affected by the soups, as they call the
Mhm.
superheroes, and it's showing them like they're taking on these superheroes, but when they're in the presence of a superhero, they are so damn terrified. this like actual fear, because they are humans and these soups are super powered human beings that could absolutely kill them, like and without remorse, because these people, these superheroes have been led in this almost an ego of like they are better than the better than normal humans, and that they are of a higher power, and it's just so scary. And this show just doesn't play on the corporate nature, it plays on religion. It takes you places, and it's not scared of taking you to these places, and I think it's very bold. And I think it's Amazon Prime has been trying to compete with Netflix for a long time, and I think has been like, besides the Lord of the Rings series they're working on, I think The Boys is like their like top tier of the show that they are really pushing.
Show.
Yeah, really, because budget wise it's not easy to do a superhero show unless you just have them just talking to people all the time. And season 1 was actually pretty light on action, like it felt, but it was setting up a story, and I think season 1 is pretty good where they go. And like season 2, like I can say that the first 3 episodes they released a lot more action, I would say, than the first 3 episodes of the first season. So man, season 2 is 3 episodes is out, and they're gonna be releasing episode by episode every week now. The story is season 2. If you watch the first 3 episodes, I think this season is gonna be much crazier than season 1. I can just just so spoiler free, Alex, what did you think of the first 3 episodes that you watched for season 2? Do you like it much more than what you've seen from season 1, or?
Well, I like that they're expanding upon Homelander, and I like how he's well, in the first season you kind of see him, he sort of has like this mother figure that he tries to please and live up to, and but I see that, well, spoilers from part 1, she dies. And now he's sort of like on his own, right? And he's sort of like trying to like try to find someone who's close to him, or at least because like you said, like he's the only one of his kind, and being that powerful, it comes with sort of like this I don't know, this kind of feeling where I could do whatever I want and no one could do anything about it. So
there's no shackles on him anymore.
There's no shackles on him, exactly. So but also I think with the kind of freedom, like I think he also feels sort of like he feels lonely, He's like, he's the only one of his kind. He's so powerful, like nothing on earth can touch him. But then he's like, he's the only one of his own. Like he's just him.
Yeah.
So I think season 2, I think they'll expand upon maybe, trying to find someone else like him, or at least trying to find an equal.
You know what? But deep down, I feel like him finding an equal is just going to scare him more than make him feel relaxed, because if you watch the 3rd episode and there's some friction between the 7 and like the last scene of him, so I mean the what you were going on about Homeland and how it's changed, I think it's for just the whole show, is the character dynamics have changed for everyone, from the boys inside the boys, from Butcher and what's his name, Huey and and all of them, Frenchie, all of them, the characters that have changed because of how Butcher kind of like abandoned his squad mates at the end, and Huey lost faith in the lost faith with Butcher, and like it's gonna be interesting. I think there's gonna be a lot of messed up shit happening, and I wonder if the boys are gonna stick together throughout this mess, because there's new intrigue, new mysteries, and a whole lot of blood and gore that awaits us in future episodes. So I mean, if you haven't watched The Boys, and I don't know why you've been listening to all the spoilers, but go watch The Boys if you haven't. So spoilers over. We're gonna move on from The Boys, and another exciting TV show that also came around the time that The Boys was, like last fall, which is The Mandalorian from Disney. The Mandalorian ran for 8 episodes, and just like The Boys, and those episodes were also week by week when it released, and it took the internet by storm with Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda was everywhere.
It was everywhere. every episode airs, you go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, you go wherever there's social media. There's a new picture of Baby Yoda from that episode, and it's everywhere. And I think it sucked so much for the people in UK and Australia, because I think Disney Plus wasn't available in those regions, so they literally got spoiled of the whole Baby Yoda thing until I think Disney Plus came there a year after, or like 6 months after. So that must have sucked. But now finally, I think now most regions can watch the Mandalorian season 2 together. It's been given a date. The premiere episode of season 2 has been given a date of October 30th, and it's gonna also release in the same way, week by week basis. I'm not sure of the episodes, but I'm just gonna guess it's gonna be 8 episodes again.
Yeah.
And I think the season 1 had a budget of 150 million, or around 135 to 150, something like that. So yeah, I'll go first. Like, I am not a very big Star Wars fan. I do not know all the lore, but last year when Star Wars had a massive season, they had the new movie, the last movie in that the latest trilogy they did, the last Rise of the Skywalker, Rise of the Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
So that the Rise of the Skywalker, then they had a new game with which was very well received, sold very well. What was a Jedi Fallen Order, which was really fun. I actually played the game, really liked the game. Then I started digging Star Wars because I was never like much of a Star Wars guy. So then I actually watched. I did like the movies with. Actually, I only liked The Force Awakens mostly, Last Jedi, and the other movie was forgettable for me. I really liked The Force Awakens, so I started the game, got really into it, started digging the lore, started actually understanding what Star Wars was, because before I just did not understand this space magic bullshit they had going on. Yeah. So yeah, I really liked the game. The game was so much fun. They did such a good job with the story, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'd like to get some more deep in the lore. So I actually went back and watched the original trilogy with Luke Skywalker. Watched all those. Didn't watch the prequels. I fell asleep on the first prequel movie, and then I was like, you know what, I can't go with the rest of them. So anyway, where I was going with, so the Mandalorian actually sounded so cool. So this was like Star Wars season, so I was like actually getting into it, and the first episode of the Mandalorian actually got me excited. Like, even if you don't know who Baby Yoda is, you do know who Yoda was. If you don't follow Star Wars, you know these characters, you've heard about them. So them doing this cool like bounty hunter guy going after like a target, but it ends up being a cute little green alien, and so it was it was just something like got me excited. Like I actually want to follow this series. I actually want to know what happens next. We'll go into the rest of the season later, but so what was your first thoughts when you watched the first episode of The Mandalorian?
Well, actually, just the build up of it, when it actually first got announced, I was very, very excited. I think ever since Boba Fett, the first like Mandalorian that people see in the actual movies, he's been like such a standout character and such a cool character. He's with the helmet and his armor. And I think when I first saw that they were actually like creating a whole series around, the whole Mandalorians and the lore around them, I was actually very, very excited. I was a bit skeptical at first. I was like, I was thinking like, is this going to be like a hit and miss kind of thing? Because,
you're like a big Star Wars guy?
Yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars guy.
Okay. So your excitement for you must have been 10 times the excitement that I had for it.
Yeah, I was very excited. But then I was thinking, I'll try to manage my expectations of it. But given that it was Disney, right? So I knew like, okay, so if they had a decent budget behind it, it had like decent actors behind it, I'm like, they could pull it off. So when I actually first watched the first episode, I was actually hooked. Right? There's something about Star Wars. It has its own feel to it, right? It has
magic, right? It's Star Wars magic, yeah.
There's something about it's the music, it's the way its world is built, And I think from the first episode, you actually get that, right? I mean, even with the old school transitions, like the swipes and just like
Oh
the
yeah.
opens. I mean, like that's like classic Star Wars, and I think they build up the character very well. I hope that's actually something they build up upon, especially um, actually to explain the story where the Mandalorians come from. Hopefully, that's something they do more in the season 2. But the first episode, that badass scene in the bar where he just like shoots the guy and pulls him back. I was
That's
like,
just
yeah,
like the opening, yeah. It's just like, oh,
yeah,
like
that was,
it literally starts off like a Western wood. A guy walks into a
yeah,
bar, and like that's how the
exactly.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It was like it was set up like Star Wars, but then sort of like a Western set in a Star Wars, universe, and I think that was like pretty awesome.
I mean, they did say before the show came out that they were going for this Western gunslinger
Mm-hmm.
type of, route. And as you said, like the first episode actually is one of the best episodes because it actually had the main character that you're curious about. They're like, hey, this is the main character. You don't know much about him. They don't show his backstory or anything. He's just a bounty hunter. He collects bounties and and that's it. And they show him doing some cool stuff. And yeah, and it had a good budget. Disney Plus was just launching. They were launching with this show, and it had quite a big push ahead. So it was a show you could not stop yourself from getting excited about. It was something new, and and it also had a good cast. Like it had like a really good cast. I was really excited about Ming-Na Wen. She's like the original Mulan and then like voice Mulan, sorry. And she's I love her in Agents of Shield, so I was really excited. And then also got very disappointed in what happened with the character. Yeah. And one of the critiques about the season was also that it really did sometimes feel disjointed in the middle of the season. I mean, it's 8 episodes. There's just eight episodes and so many minutes in one episode. And how so when they did show Baby Yoda, there was like these like usually 8 episodes are like TV shows like The Stranger Things or The Boys. They have a really tight story most times, and it doesn't feel like you're dragging or like filler episodes. But this actually did have filler episodes in them, and some were actually quite enjoyable. Some really didn't hit the mark it was trying to hit, or they just didn't even aim for it. So that was just one of the critiques that I had. And from the 4 episodes, I might actually have only 4 episodes that I actually liked myself. I really liked the first episode. I liked the second episode, but there was I think the third episode, they went off into the jungle and they were trying to help those village tribe people. And then I mean, I don't know. It's just it just didn't feel like he had a squad, because every time the Mandalorian, it felt like the Mandalorian was going on side quests. He goes on a side quest. He meets these characters. They have personality in them, and then you hope these characters would stick around, but he always ends up just leaving them behind. And then and then at the final episodes, he actually then just suddenly just goes back to those people, and these people just join him. And those reasons never feel like, why would you join him? What is your reason? Like, do you it just kind of felt disjointed. But throughout the season, the production was there. The people, people who made it, they really did care. And Baby Yoda, whenever he would show up for like 10 minutes in an episode,
just went nuts.
Went nuts. He also stole the show. They knew exactly what to do with him. Like when they used Baby Yoda, they didn't use him like too much. They used him like exactly the amount they should have, which is like which really, like, some people could just easily abuse something cute. I think like baby like Groot from Marvel sometimes got really overused. So I think John Favreau is actually the showrunner, and he created the show. Now this guy is like Disney's ace right now, because Iron Man, and like he's also directed the Jungle Book, the animated the animated remakes of their famous animated movies, from the classic animated movies, I mean. So how did you feel when the season ended? Because the final 2 episodes, I would say, actually had some had probably all the biggest revelations. You actually saw the villain of the story, which is Giancarlo Esposito's character. I am forgetting his character in the game. Sorry, in the movie. Yeah, in the series.
Oh
And
yeah.
you also got the Mandalorian's name, and they also took off his helmet, which I actually really didn't
Yeah.
want them to do that. I was hoping, man, just you either cut away or you just don't do it at all. Because this show was gonna get a season 2. It wasn't like, oh man, we gotta show his face, or otherwise the season will get canceled or something. We knew there was gonna be a season 2, so I hope they kept it for much further, and made it actually, stick with the character for so long that when they do actually do it, it's much more like, oh wow, like I mean, we all knew the actor playing Mandalorian. Let me just search up his name, unless you know it.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal, he's in Wonder Woman, right? I mean, Pedro Pascal's not like he's famous enough, so we already knew what Pedro Pascal looked like. So and then we got Cara Dune, who is played by what's her name, the UFC fighter,
Gina
Carano, thank you.
Gina Carano.
So she actually don't she's I've seen a lot of her stuff she's been in. She's not a very good actress, but over here I think she made it work for her, and she's so well built. She actually looks like someone you don't want to mess with. So I really like they included a character like her. You got his handler. It's I haven't seen the show since it first aired, so I'm kind of blanking on some names, but they actually did have a good, like very bright personalities of like characters that actually had a lot of different varied personalities. So one of the main critics was for me like, oh man, I wish these characters actually stuck with the Mandalorian so they can all grow together. So what I am hoping from season 2 is that actually does happen, because these characters are coming back. Gina Carano's character is coming back, and then I'm pretty sure we'll see the villain. Oh, man, I'm blanking on his name already. Giancarlo Esposito his character is coming back. He's like the main villain, and I know the final shot of the last season was him using a sort of blade, which was like lightsaber, and I know a lot of people went crazy who watched the Clone Wars and all the animated shows. They really went crazy about that thing. So I actually went back and did a lot of research about. It's a very important weapon for the Mandalorians, right? It's like the little So if you want to like again, full spoilers, we're gonna be talking about the lore and what we hope to see from the next season and everything that happened in season 2. So if you haven't watched the Mandalorian season 1, just skip this bit. I'll put a spoiler tag on the video as well so you guys can see. So talk to like do you watch the Clone Wars, like all the animated stuff they do?
Yeah, I did. I watched it like I should have gone back and watched it before I watched the Mandalorian, but I haven't seen the Clone Wars because they took a break before they came out with the final season. But I think what made the Clone Wars really stick out for me was the story, or like of the Mandalorians, from Mandor. And one thing that actually I like that the show brought is like it brought enough of their lore, and what their world is, how they build their weapons. They're seen as like this very, warrior class, honorable warriors kind of thing, right? Every battle they go into, like they earn their stripes basically, right? And I like what the show does, that they don't make him too overpowered, which is the thing that I was a bit worried about from this first episode. Because you see how badass he is, and I thought like, okay, so is he like super skilled, maxed out on everything? And I still like that, in a fight, like he still takes hits. He still,
of course. I mean, he almost died in episode 2, right? If Baby Yoda didn't intervene, so that was like he's getting the crap kicked out of him. Yeah, he's fighting something. And they actually do it again when he's trying to rescue Baby Yoda too, and he needs help from his. So So yeah, that's a good thing to point out. He's a badass, but he cannot take a whole army by himself. So I really like that too.
And then I like also like throughout the series, he actually gets upgrades, which I kind of feel like, you know, actually it kind of does feel like a game, sort of like
it is like an RPG. He goes
like
on
he goes
quests,
back to the shop,
yeah,
gets upgrades, and then
gets
goes out.
upgrades. Yeah, it is. It
Right?
is actually the reason I don't know I say that is because when they were making the show, they actually talked about it, that it was heavily inspired by old classic RPG games. So that's how they also structured it, which also like make a Mandalorian video game is not that hard. Somebody can make it. So I would play it. So yeah, I mean,
PS5 is coming out.
so yeah,
They got the engine.
Oh, they do.
So,
It probably look beautiful, and Star Wars is biggest ever. So yeah. Oh yeah, keep going, keep going.
Yeah. So what I actually like also about the world building that they do is that you kind of see a little bit of how would you say, like the reverence kind of thing, that how people react to people, you know, to Mandalorians, how people see them as bounty hunters, you know, as warriors. And especially Gina Carano's character, like she recognized him, like she recognized the armor, and what it means for him to actually take off his helmet. Which, yes, I think like they should have put that at least like maybe season 3 down the line, you know.
Of course,
like
push it as far
to
as they
give the
could.
audience. Yeah, I think they needed the audience to bond with him more as himself without taking off his helmet.
Yeah, I mean, like they should have done it at the point where fans or just people who are watching the show, they actually care so much about him that seeing his face, like they actually want to, like, you know, be comfortable with it. Because when they were doing it, it wasn't like a oh man, are they going to show it? Are they not going to show it? It was more like, oh man, I hope they don't show it. Like it was more like different. Like the part that is so cool about is he mentions it like many times throughout the previous episodes that it's an honor, like I can show you my face, says it to so many people all the time, you can't shut up about it. And then at the final when they were doing it, I was like, oh man. But it was like a good character building for the what was the robot, I'm also forgetting his name. You know what? We'll just quickly.
You mean the actor that plays the robot?
Yeah. That's the director.
Taika
Waititi,
right?
yeah, Taika Waititi. Which is, you know, they have the whole exchange of no one has seen my face, or like he replies like I'm not alive or whatever. So, so it's like it's one of the things we agree at least that the face reveal should have been held off. I think it would have paid off much better now, because we've seen it. Now if they do it again, it just won't matter as much, right? If they ever show his face, it just will not matter as much. If they had done it later, oh man, it would have hit much harder. So
I think they could have done it more of like I mean, like more dramatic. Maybe like he doesn't take it off by choice, you know. Maybe somebody took it off by force, you know.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's something that he like is a belief he held on to, and you know it was taken away from him. You know, someone might actually take off his helmet by force. You know,
of course, like a good revenge story, right? I mean, that could have been just a whole season. Like a whole season of just that. Yeah. Also, the villain's name is Moff Gideon. That's Carlo Esposito's character. So. So yeah, I mean, Moff Gideon. He's just such a great, he's just a great actor. So when his ship comes down in the before the Pendulum episode, his ship comes down, menacing presence. It also comes out of nowhere, right? Because you don't expect, because the story was heading in a different direction, and it just 180 like. Oh man, everything's like our heroes are on the losing side. They are surrounded, they are stuck, and they can't get out. And they also did not have Baby Yoda with them at the time. So it was such a good reveal of his character. And then and this part I also didn't like, This guy just comes in out of nowhere. We don't know him, and he just starts spitting out facts and truths at them, and they're like also filling up the law and
There's
the
a lot of
background
like exposition.
just going for everyone is listening. Or like, oh man, that's your name? Like, oh, that's where you come from? Like, you get the Mandalorian's name. You know,
Yeah.
he talks about the Cara Dune. And
Mhm.
he also talks about let me see what was his name. Oh, IG-11 was the robot that Taika
Mhm.
Waititi was playing. I'm sorry, just gonna give me 1 second. I want to find out this name because his name is very Carl Weathers, right? Carl Weathers.
What is? Yeah.
He's playing Grief Karga, and Grief was basically a sort of like a fixer, or like just a just a guy who literally gives out quests or bounties to bounty hunters.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you could go search for this guy. Yeah. So throughout the season, it's a very shaky relationship. Again, like it was
Mhm.
so shaky that when he turned around to help him, it felt too. They just tried to get the ball rolling. It wasn't natural, and one
Mhm.
of the things that I didn't like about the season. So, and like Cara Dune also just like throws herself into like literally a suicide mission just to help a guy
Yeah.
that she just went
She
one
just
mission with.
met.
Yeah, it just felt
Yeah.
so, because when they did introduce Gina Carano's character in, I think it was episode 3, and
Mhm.
they meet, they go on to this village, they protect the village, like an actual Western show, a group of
Mhm.
cowboys come into a village, like a town, and they're being
Under siege, and
under
then
siege by
the
bandits or
locals help
something.
them.
Locals
Yeah.
help them, they fight. It's like a classic Western story. It was quite enjoyable. I know a lot of people didn't like that episode for some reason, but I quite
Mhm.
enjoyed it because it felt really like a really classic Western episode. But anyway, I was hoping that she would leave with our boys and join the squad, and it'll be like, oh, we have
Mhm.
another familiar face, and he's not alone. But yeah, he just
Mhm.
takes off alone, and I think it's episode 4. I think it's the worst episode for me personally. I think it's
Mhm.
the episode they go to Tatooine, right?
Tattoo.
uh,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anything, it has also Ming-Na Wen's character. They're hunting her. She's the bounty they're actually hunting, and they
Mhm.
hired this B grade
Awful.
actor, awful actor to play this dude whose character was also very awful. Oh man, that episode actually started to make me worry when because we were just watching weekly.
Mhm.
We can't just binge through the next. Oh, what's on the next episode? Because I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
watching them week by week release schedule. So
Mhm.
on that episode, I was definitely a bit worried. Did you worry, or did you enjoy all the episodes, or did you also
Well,
feel like,
that episode for me was I was thinking like, because I felt like even the previous episodes, like they felt like like side quests, right? Like,
mm,
and I had a feeling like maybe they'll come back to them, or maybe they'll meet up at the end or something. But that episode, I think I did feel kind of worried. Like I was like skeptical, like, okay, like where are you gonna go with this? Like
yeah,
I wasn't sure, like, okay, how is this gonna fit into the story? But yeah, it's just one of those episodes where you just have to like just power through and be like,
yeah.
just fingers crossed almost.
Yeah, it's it just feels disjointed because for the first episode and the second episode, you get this story of, oh man, baby Yoda. Oh man, this is probably just gonna be him trying to find out about where the baby comes from. Why was it
Mm-hmm.
there? What does the Empire want with the baby? So many questions, and then
Questions, yeah.
suddenly after 2 episodes, the story just breaks off, and he's just stopping. It almost feels like an anthology series of him just
Mm-hmm.
villain of the week kind of shows that just have different killers or different monsters of the week, whatever have you, like
Yeah.
separate stories, like
Mm-hmm.
literally filler episodes. And at first when they did the Cara Dune episode 3, I was like, oh, maybe like you said, these characters maybe come at the end and they all work together. So if he was stopping at these places, and then maybe once he needed help at the end, like, then it would have been such a better pacing, better story of them. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
this guy helped us out, so we're now gonna go help him out. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally how
Okay, yeah.
video games work, when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do all these side quests, and at the end, all these characters come in and help you fight the final villain, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It would have
Mm-hmm.
worked so much better. um so so yeah, I mean, if you want to give more of your thoughts on the episodes.
Well, yeah. I think the way I watched it is that I actually watched, I think, first two episodes together because I waited. I missed the first the week it came out, so I watched two of them together, and I actually spaced it out literally because I did not want to have that feeling of like watch it this week and then just like waiting for the next one to come out. So actually, I try to distract myself by pacing it. But I think for me, the story did feel like it felt slow at times. Like there's like I think it lost the urgency for me, especially when like he takes off with like this baby Yoda, like this package that everyone is after, and then like he goes like takes his little trip. Like there's no urgency. Like he's just making stops along the way. He goes on detours. Like I don't feel like he was actually being chased, or like had like
In
someone on his
danger, yeah.
heels.
He was
Yeah,
just
he was
taking
in
his
danger.
time.
He was taking his time, which I think, I mean, given that they only had like 8 episodes,
Exactly.
I don't think there was it did not have enough to fill those minutes,
And just for clarification, not even just 8 episodes, but these were not like an hour-long episodes. These were like 30 minutes to 40 minutes, like shorter than a regular episode would be for like a streaming service. So limited time as well.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
So definitely at the end of the episodes where I was just like watching it, and all of a sudden when the credits come up, I'm like, wait, is that it? Like I expected more to happen, or at least to progress the story. But yeah, I did actually enjoy like those little bits when he did detour. Who was that guy that actually tried to save Baby Nick Nolte? I think
Nick
was
Nolte,
his
right.
character.
He was
Yeah,
the little alien dude. Oh, I
yeah,
have spoken guy. That
yeah. I've
was
spoken.
also.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I did like how he came back around, but then uh, those little moments where he meets his little characters along the way and how they come back, I actually had that kind of optimism. Like, okay, hopefully these people, would come back around, right? And I was thinking like maybe they would help the story in some way. Like, I didn't think Nick Nolte's character was come back, but then you see like that scene at the end where he was like racing towards the
Oh,
spaceship
the
to get
tension, yeah. Oh man.
the tension. Yeah, I felt like okay, that had some weight to it because
Yeah, but then again, like still spoilers for the Amanda season 1. His death also sort of was like a shocking factor, but they also didn't feel like it was earned because I felt like that character could go so much further. And same with IG-11. He has this great moment with so the whole thing with again Mando didn't like droids. He really didn't like droids because of his past. But then like they have this moment of him is sort of accepting IG-11. He's literally like lets him carry him, save his life and all that, and then he just goes and explodes. Again a touching moment, a shocking moment, but also didn't feel earned. It just felt too soon. Like
too
we
soon.
just
It's sort of like a lot of good characters like dying off too soon.
Especially
Like,
we haven't given much time with them, right? Like they introduced
yeah.
IG-11 previous episode saying, oh, he Nick Nolte's character actually found the droid that he shot in episode 1. Another callback, right? Like he met this droid season 1 and now we're meeting him 5-6 episodes later on. But he's been reprogrammed. He's taking care of Baby Yoda. Mando still doesn't like interesting dynamics, character dynamics. These people are playing off each other. And then we lose these two characters, and then the squad that was like a 5-man squad, we lost 2, and then there was back to Carl Weathers and Gina Carano's character and Pedro Pascal and Baby Yoda. So and then in the final episode he leaves them again. Like it was just like, oh, like why are you leaving why are you leaving Gina Carano's character? Like she literally has nowhere else to go. She literally followed you from another planet where she was hiding to come be in the thick of it, and then you're leaving her behind again. And I just hope, like as I've said before, I the only thing I hope from season 2 is much more focused. Like just focus on the plot, focus on the characters. You have 8 episodes, and like you don't have to like do like a jump 100 pages of story beats. You can take it slow, but like build with the characters, build with the viewership, like people are watching it. Star Wars is always going to be interesting to the people who care, and you can make it more interesting for the casual fans who watch, like people like me who just want to watch a good story. So yeah, so like coming back to what we were actually talking about, the Mandalorian sword, and the sword we saw Gideon use to cut himself out of his ship. So do you know the lore? Do you want to share?
Well, actually, I actually know, as far as I knew, that it was actually a sword. Was it the black saber?
The black
Oh,
saber.
it had a name. I'm actually blanking on the name. It actually had a name, and in the Clone Wars, it actually explored on how the sword is passed on how it was actually earned. But yeah, for that, I'm ashamed to say I'm a bit fuzzy on. I'm actually not too sure about.
So from the Mandalore, as from the wiki, it says it was called the dark saber.
Dark
saber.
That's right.
Yeah. So this was the sword that Mandalorian, like almost like kings or like leaders used to have, right? So I was doing, because I was really into Star Wars. So whenever I get into something, I just dive deep, try to consume everything I can. So yeah, the unique black bladed saber was like created by Tare Vizsla, the first Mandalorian ever inducted into the Jedi Order. So this Mandalorian was actually a Jedi too. So which is like so interesting. And this was all from the expanded Star Wars stuff, right? Like none of the. So this sword being actually brought in from the Clone Wars cartoons and being brought into live action must have been so exciting for fans such as you and people who are like, because the shows actually have a massive fan base. I know that they do. So yeah, so what are your feelings about, like, how did he get the saber and anything else?
Yeah, well, actually, the first time I saw it, I thought it was actually. Well, my reaction was, I actually thought there was something wrong with like what I was watching, because the way the sword reflects, like it's very dark, right? And I thought it was actually something wrong with like my internet or something. I'm like, I have to actually go back and say, wait, is that what I think it is? It's like, did it not buffer properly or something? So I actually had to go back and watch it. And actually, when I recognized what it was, I was very, very excited.
Well, to be honest, no fault of your own. The CG wasn't great with the sword. Yeah. Like CG did look a bit off. Like at first,
it stood out.
Yeah. I mean, you know what the sword is, right? And for me, like I had no clue what the sword was. Like, is that a lightsaber? Is that like some weird? Yeah. Like it doesn't look right.
Exactly. When I saw it, I was like, it's like I don't know. I thought it was like a VFX thing that went wrong, or they just left him there. But then I actually saw the way he was wielding it, and I was like, yeah, actually that is, the correct saber.
Very different from like the regular lightsabers they fight for, because it is actually like a sword almost. Besides, like the light from the normal Jedi ones.
Yeah. So it's more like actual like solid. It's not like light. So yeah. So I was actually, when I saw that, I actually had to go back and watch a little bit of stuff from the Clone Wars, because I had to like brush up on it, because it's sort of like when I watched the Clone Wars like years ago, I just watched it and I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I just went on, like it didn't like stick out to me that much until I saw it here. Then I was like, oh, okay, so they actually, there's a connection there, right? And what confused me the most, well, I don't know how they're going to expand on it, was actually how did especially this character actually get the sword, given that he's actually he's not a Mandalorian, like So I was thinking, like, how did he get the sword? Did he kill somebody for it, or I don't know how they're actually going to expand on that, which I think was very interesting. Yeah, that's what I was looking forward to, like how and where did you get it? Because I think it's always been seen as like an artifact of like only the Mandalorians, like it's their weapons, and to see somebody else wielding their weapons, I think it was like a strange thing for me.
Well, let's hope they don't wait till the 8th episode to talk about a little bit and then just cliffhanger again.
Cliffhanger again.
Yeah. I mean, the final image was really striking of Moff Gideon
Mhm.
knowing about the Mandalorians, and one of the reveals was also that he was where baby Mandalorian's
Yep.
parents were slaughtered. Moff
Yeah.
Gideon was there. That's how he knew his name. So
Mhm.
there's also almost like a personal attachment to both of these
Touch. Yeah.
characters, and now he actually has the dark saber, which, as you said, is
Mhm.
an important part of the Mandalorians, and he has something that basically his almost like religion or way of life is
Mhm.
important, so these characters are like instantly tied within just like 1-2 episodes. So
Mhm.
hopefully we see much more of the history and what happened between where we last left off with the sword and where it is now. One thing I do
Mhm.
appreciate, because when Disney did take over Star Wars, they kind of got rid of all the expanded lore, like from the books,
Yeah. Yeah.
comics. But I'm glad they mentioned Ahsoka, and I hope I'm saying her name right, Ashoka or
Mhm.
Ahsoka?
Shocker. Yeah.
Ashoka, right? Okay. So yeah, correct me if I get it wrong. Otherwise, so yeah, they mention her. They're literally showing the sword. So everything that happened in the shows presumably has happened in the universe, that Disney Star Wars universe at least. So yeah, what are anything you want to see improve besides the things we talked about in for season 2?
Yeah. I think season two. I think I just need them to maybe, yeah, like you said, just keep up with the pacing at least,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still actually, because right now there's still a lot of mystery behind the story with like Baby Yoda. Like right now, like I get they were after him, but there's still no like elaboration. Like why are they after him?
Mm-hmm.
Why is he important? Like there's still a lot of like unanswered questions, which I was hoping season one would like fill in, but then it's still it's still unsolved right now. So hopefully they could give us some answers at least, and then so we can pose new
Well,
questions and stuff.
they will. As I said, like they will have to. Otherwise, people, as fun as episodes can be, people will start losing interest in the main plot, right?
Yeah.
Nobody,
Hmm.
nobody wants to sit through like 8 episodes or like 6 episodes in between of a season just trying to get to the thing at the end. If you don't leave crumbs at least in the middle
Hmm.
episodes for people to pick on, and they have to, if they just do the same thing of him just going unrelated on the other side of the universe, many other characters that probably just won't matter in the end
Yeah.
anyway. It'll start to get boring, and it'll probably
Hmm.
if it the hardcore fans will definitely keep watching. I am sure I'll still stick with it, but like when season 3 rolls around, the story might not be the same for some people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's and plus this is a service, at least in the States and UK and overseas, that you do
Hmm.
have to pay for monthly to keep
Hmm.
watching these episodes as they come out. So I hope they listened, because people went blindly loving the show. People were criticizing
Hmm.
when it came out, criticizing the episodes. Not everybody was satisfied with how it ended. I was not fully
Yeah.
satisfied with how it ended, but I hope they fix on the errors of season 1, and they just keep upping the bar, and
That
use
part.
all that money time wisely. Like you can, like,
Exactly.
yeah, you get so much money, and you got this IP on your hand, so please do use it
Mhm.
wisely. So before we move on from Mandalorian season 2, is there anything you want to reiterate or like
Okay.
say closing things?
I mean, yeah, I think if you're a fan out there who likes the lore and wants to dive into it, um, definitely check out Clone Wars. You know, it's a
Mm-hmm.
good animated series. It's still very, I think, one of my favorites, and it'll help flesh out the story. You know, as far as background goes. But yeah, I think with the Mandalorian, I'm looking forward to season two. I'm still very
Skeptical.
optimistic. You know, I was
Uh,
like, I'm thinking like, we did good in the first season. I'm like, they got me hooked, but they gotta hold my attention by putting some content in there,
mm-hmm.
for the fans. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so too. Yeah, and also for the people who maybe look at Clone Zoners and thinking, "Oh my God, there's so much episodes and stuff." Actually, if you do go on Reddit, they actually have like detailed episodes that if you don't want to watch the filler episodes, they actually have low filled episodes that matter more than the filler ones. So you can just pick out the episodes they list there and watch them in that order. But if you want to go through the whole Clone Wars, they're still enjoyable if you have nothing to watch. But as
Yeah.
like nowadays, there's too much to watch and so little
Yes.
time. So anyway, so yeah, Alex, you actually wanted to talk about some of the upcoming movies, which probably have no release dates, as like COVID year.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to go right off the bat. Is there any movies that you're really looking forward to coming up?
Right. I think the biggest one so far. I mean, everyone's looking forward to this film is the Snyder Cut version of the Justice League.
Justice League.
But
see, it's not even like a movie now, right? It's a mini series.
It's a mini series, yeah. So I was actually reading a few of like the reviews online. Well, not actual reviews, but like articles, impressions of the show, and maybe how it would go. And when I first watched, disappointing by the way was Suicide Squad, right? I was not a fan. I believe
I don't think anybody was.
It had the hype behind it, right? But for me, it felt like the longest introduction. It's like the longest introduction made into a movie, because basically it was just like, here's this character, and there was like so many good characters, and then all of a sudden they had like such small roles.
Like that's the thing, right? If you introduce not like you don't no background on these characters, you have to bring them in the movie, then you have to explain their background, and then you have to make them interesting throughout the movie. But you can't do that because movies can't be 4 hours long, because otherwise the audience will fall asleep in the cinema. So you can like maybe 2 hours. So Suicide Squad had problems, man. So sorry, keep going. It's very interrupting.
No, but the thing is, like, the way Suicide Squad is set up is that I was very excited for it, and the delivery was not there, and I was like, you know what, I'm a big DC fan. I'm like, you know what, Justice League is their, Justice League is basically, their Avengers, so they're not gonna screw this up.
They can't go wrong, right? So big.
It can't go wrong. It's like you got Superman, you got Batman, the biggest, And then when the movie came out, I'm like, no, why? Like, what happened?
It got plagued by the same issues that happened with Suicide Squad, right? And they have like reshoots. They went back and reshot so many things, and the story was jumbled. Joker scenes were so many taken out. Like Leto wasn't happy, and the Joker design. Oh, holy shit! I don't know what was happening with the movie. Suicide Squad, it's so forgettable. I forget it came out. Like I literally forget it came out. And so Justice League, same problem, right? Reshoots, cast isn't happy, contractual obligations of mustache shavings and crap like that. I as I said, I was talking last episode or the before that with Renee and Chris. I was like, I walked out of the Justice League movie and I was like, I just watched Justice League and I feel nothing. I don't feel excitement. I don't feel disappointed. I just feel empty because nothing. It was nothing. It was just nothing. So I'm sure like you've probably felt the same way from the way you're saying.
Yeah. I definitely felt like the one thing I noticed about the way Marvel does their movies is that it might come off a little cheesy sometimes, but they have that like that superhero moment in the film that the audience can just cheer for, like they just like fist pumping, like Thor when he arrived, in his little when he arrived with Rocket and Groot, and then he just threw his hammer,
And that was Infinity War. There was like the big like super with the Avengers Assemble thing, superhero moment.
So I was actually watching like all the Marvel movies again, and I noticed like that is the thing that Marvel does well. It builds up its characters to have their big moments, you know. And I feel like when I watched um, the Justice League, I don't feel they had that, you know. And like Superman, okay, I know Superman was like very down and dreary. You know, he wasn't big Superman yet. He was still, I call him sad Superman because he felt very depressed.
I mean, from taking from BVS to Justice League,
Hmm.
the all Zack Snyder told Henry Cavill to do was just like look at the camera and be sad, and have this serious look on your face, and just look at the camera. That's all you're going to do for hours and hours. That's your job.
Hours and hours.
And Superman, man, as I said, Superman's supposed to be hopeful. Like if everything's
Mhm.
black, he's the light, right? If everything is
Yeah.
dark, he's the shining beacon. And I hope Superman gets his big day in movies where everybody goes and sees a Superman movie and they come out feeling when they first saw Christopher Reeve's movie and saying, oh no,
Hmm.
man, that was Superman. That was such a
Yeah.
fun, vibrant movie. And I hope, and I feel so bad for Henry Cavill because I think Henry Cavill is an excellent character. He excellent actor, and he really did care about the character Superman. He was so
Hmm.
happy to play it, and if he was given the material to play a good Superman, he would have done it. He would
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
definitely done it. So yeah, so and from the just like the Snyder cut, oh, what are you expecting? Like you're excited for it. So what are you hoping it's different from the just like we saw?
So, yeah. So one thing I'm worried about is that I'm hoping it's just not a visual upgrade. Like I
Mm,
mean, you see all the the different Steppenwolf and we see Darkseid. Um, but what I'm hoping they would expand upon is I remember watching um, the trailer for BVS when um, Batman has his little, when the Flash comes back, he has his little, after his little flashback. Oh, no, not flashback, like his little dream sequence,
oh,
right?
the dream sequence. Oh, when he's dreaming about the future Batman and
The
the
future Batman, right?
parademons and stuff. Yeah.
All right. And then you have this like Flash come through with like this different kind of armor, and he's like, "Am I too late or am I too early?" Right? And that scene right there, I was like, for me, I thought like, okay, this is where it could get big, right? Like, what is that? Like, where is Flash coming from? Like, is this something they expanded upon? It didn't happen in the movies in the first one, and in the Snyder Cut, I'm hoping that's something they actually expand upon. Like, where did that Flash come from?
Mm.
And is he from the future, or is he like from some kind of a parallel?
Alternate parallel, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
from
like
Jack Snyder and HBO did confirm there that they weren't gonna do reshoots. They were just gonna take the
mhm,
scenes that Snyder had shot during his when he was in production, and they're just giving $30 million just to make those scenes crisp, clear, and if there's additional CGI work to be done on those scenes, and that's what they'll put out. So if he nobody should expect this Snyder cut to have scenes or ask Snyder for scenes to do it, something like
yeah,
that. These
yeah,
scenes
yeah.
have already been shot, so as you hope he has shot these scenes, but if he hasn't, it's not gonna be in the Snyder cut.
Mhm,
And also, so just to give some more information about the Snyder cut, if you don't know, uh, it's gonna be 4 hours, so that's why they're splitting it into 4 episodes of 1 hour length
1 hour each. Yeah.
miniseries. I don't know how that's going to go. Actually, I'd rather if they even was 4 hours, they should have just done a part one, part two kind of thing. Personally, that's how I
Yeah.
just feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know if splitting them off is actually going to help them. Uh,
Hmm.
or maybe they just require a more time to finish up, so maybe they're trying to split it in parts and work on the
Hmm.
other parts while the work goes on.
Hmm.
As you all know, Snyder left in middle of production. The reason they put out was Zack Snyder's daughter had died, so They said he's gonna be taking a step down, and they brought in Joss Whedon to do multiple reshoots. Then the Superman facial thing happened because
Mustache thing.
he couldn't shave it off because of Mission Impossible Fallout. And man, so it's just like a development hell, like just development, like shifts. And Ben Affleck like left his regime, like he stopped working out because he thought he was done with the shooting, so he came back. That's why Batman looked a lot of flab because
Yeah.
and Ben Affleck had like drinking problems, divorce was in the middle, he was in the middle of a divorce. Oh, just like it feels like nobody was happy while making this movie, and you could see it in the movie. So you sorry Alex, you were bringing up the fact that the superhero moment, right? Marvel movies have this. And another thing I actually look in a movie is tone. Like when you have to set the tone of your film. Like you have to make sure what the tone of the film is. Like Justice League tone all over the place. It's serious. It has this weird comedic timings of things that don't work out, come off as cringy, when like Cyborg and Superman are like laughing at the end of the movie, when they pull the motherboard and they just start laughing suddenly, and it's like, what? That wasn't a good joke at all. Like
it's like lying there.
Yeah. So like for Marvel, you take Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok is an action comedy. They know what the movie is. They know what the tone is from the start. Captain America: Winter Soldier is a spy movie. It's an action spy movie. It's about espionage. It's about government secrets. It's a thriller. They know what that movie is. So when you like BVS, you like very controversial split. Fans are split on that movie. The thing was, the tone was consistent, even though however you might feel about the story, the tone of the movie was always going to be, it's dark, it's taking itself way too seriously, and that is the movie, however you feel about it. And with Justice League, as I said, like the tone went so over because you could tell it was made by two people. It was made by two directors, and it's jumbled, it's a mess, and it's not hitting any of the moment it wants to. And that's why I think the movie got spoiled. For me, how I feel about the Snyder Cut is, I'm not expecting it to be better. I'm just expecting it to be different. That's where my expectations go as far. I'm not expecting it to be better. I'm just gonna be expecting it to be different. So what about you, Alex? Do you think, like, just from your optimistic side, do you think you're gonna like it much more than the Justice League we got?
Well, yeah. So I'm optimistic as far as, especially given how much runtime is gonna have. The thing I'm most optimistic about, and I hope they do well, is to actually world build so that it sets up their other characters as well. Like, Wonder Woman is already coming up with its film. Don't know about like its other heroes, if they have set up any world for them yet, but I'm hoping like any world building could happen in Justice League, so that it sets up their future characters for their own own solo films.
Of course.
So I'm hoping they do that.
Yeah, one thing I did feel about Justice League when it ended was like, this is how the Justice League should have started. Clark was alive, Bruce and Clark were friends. Clark actually goes in with his glasses, and like you know who the Flash is. It just felt like this is where the DC universe should have started, not where it should have abruptly ended, like, because the DCU is basically now done. They're like gonna have a soft reboot with the Flash movie, with the Earth 2, and hopefully they do that. One thing else, what did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, so you were talking about setting up the characters and the worlds. From the first trailer of Justice League, we actually got footage of Victor Stone not being cyborg, of him playing football, and him not being all cyborged up. He was actually human. And as you've seen Justice League, the cyborg in the movie just shows up as cyborg, and you don't even get any like. I'm not sure. You don't even get any flashback scenes with him, right? Just a little bit, I think, but not a lot.
Yeah, I think this.
See,
I think most of the scenes you get, I think because all I can remember was just him like sitting in the apartment,
Oh, and
just
the
like
hoodie and like
with the hoodie on. It's like
yeah, and from the SnyderCut trailer, if you've seen, they actually show his dad. They show the mother box, and Cyborg not being Cyborg. Like, so I think you will get a lot of a lot of like footage of before all the shit hits the fan. Like I'm sure you'll see a lot of Cyborg. You'll see they showed footage of Barry Allen Flash saving Iris from a car crash. So I'm sure you'll see a lot more. A lot. I think a lot of the movie was cut out, as you can see. I'm not sure if Zack is actually gonna use any of the reshoots. I think he's probably, from the ego and the way everything happened, I'm pretty sure he's not gonna be using any of the reshoots. So you see a lot of scenes. How that works out, just we'll literally have to wait for it. Did they give a release date? I don't remember them giving a release date yet.
No,
Right?
not yet, not yet.
Because they're still working on it. Because this has been really recent. They announced it, I think, start of this year. They just showed some of the footage now, and who knows when we'll see it. Like, it's gonna be such a long time ago, such a long time away. But it's gonna be on streaming service. You don't have to go to a theater or watch it or anything. It's all gonna be online. So that's at least one plus. Nothing's gonna be interfering with like a worldwide launch for that miniseries. So sorry, Alex, is there anything else you wanna speak on Justice League before we move on?
No. I think with Justice League, there's a lot of like just expectation right now. I think especially with the fans, they just want, they want their characters represented well, And I think, for me personally, don't at me and stuff, but I think DC has better villains, I think if that's something they could expand upon, I think they could do well. But
villains are always a tough thing to hit. Like you can have a great villain on paper, but bringing them into a movie can be tricky. So
it can be tricky.
Yeah, it's all about like Marvel. Like if you think of Marvel, the only two villains you'll always think of is Thanos and Loki. That's the only two villains I remember. Those two villains. How many? 20, 22, 23, 24 movies, whatever. The two villains that really stand out to you. And Black Panther's the villain in Black Panther, Killmonger, I think is I think three villains mostly that did stand out to me. Otherwise, villains can be tricky. Man. I hope the fans have been asking for the Snyder Cut for a long time. I think as soon as the movie released, people were hanging the Snyder Cut for so long. And hey, you're getting what you want. Hopefully, you're satisfied with it. Are you? And so, what do you think about the future now for DCEU, the universe they're building? Do you think that's still viable, or they're just gonna scrap it?
I think what they need is maybe like just have a clear roadmap first. Just set up your characters, or at least build a world where all your characters can exist, and just put a timeline on it. I think this thing I like about Marvel is that they'll announce all these films, and then you sit there and like, okay, how are they going to connect all these? Right, and I don't know how, but they somehow managed to fit all of these characters in this one universe.
I think that you need a man. You like, for example, you have Zack Snyder. He's the guy making your films, right? But you need a man at the back who's not just thinking of the movie you're doing now. He's thinking of the movies you're gonna be doing. 5 movies you're gonna be doing. Like Kevin Feige is the reason these Marvel movies are all connected. It was his brilliant plan to do this. So DC needs to get a competent person, because when Justice League failed, what DC was doing, they were just looking for somebody to blame, and they blamed Zack Snyder. They were literally looking for someone to blame, and they just blamed Zack Snyder. Oh man, we should have gotten rid of him a long time ago. It was it's your fault. It's like WB, it's your fault. If why weren't you keeping Zack Snyder in check, or at least make sure because Zack Snyder, I think Zack Snyder he shoots action scenes, and visually he's very impressive. He knows how to shoot a scene. I could watch, like, you could watch him, but his story is is questionable at best. He can satisfy some people. He will definitely dissatisfy a lot of other people. For example, all the other movies like Wonder Woman hit, right? The first Wonder Woman movie, like it was success. Aquaman was great too, made over $1 billion. So did Wonder Woman. So like these standalone movies are making billions of dollars, but Justice League couldn't hit 1 billion. So you should know that now there's a problem somewhere now, right?
Yeah.
And you're right. If they do this Flashpoint story with the Barry and Michael Keaton coming back as Batman, such a big get, by the way. It's like huge. Michael Keaton's returning as the Batman, like it's huge. And if they do it right, they must. If they do this movie right, they must have a plan for whatever comes next. They must.
Yeah.
They must do it. Otherwise, you're just letting history repeat itself over and over again, and you'll never hit big time like Marvel did. So I wish them luck. We're still getting Wonder Woman 1984. They're still doing Aquaman 2. That's still happening because that movie also made a shit ton of cash. Suicide Squad 2 is coming, but James Gunn gives me a lot of hope. And from the B-roll footage they showed from DC Fandom, it actually looked fun. And I just trust James Gunn because of Guardians, right? Later, Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew anything about him, and now everybody sees the Guardians of the Galaxy and just like face lights up because they're so they're so beloved now. So I think they're taking the right steps. They're focusing on movies that worked, and they gave a movie that didn't work critically. They gave it to a director that could bring it back to life. So. So yeah, like I think the future can be bright if they take the right steps, or if they make the same mistakes again, it'll go down real quick. Yeah. So before I close out the show, because I think we've been recording over 1 hour now, anything you would like to say, reiterate? I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have you back on the show again because this was really fun. So we can talk about, there's still so many big movies like Dune, Black Widow. What else we got? Let's see. Black Widow coming, or the Ryan Reynolds movie Free Guy, The Quiet Place 2, Top Gun, like big movies still coming out this year, like probably messed up a lot of plans, but so many things still to talk about. So yeah, Alex, before I close out the show, anything you want to say or say to the audience, or just reiterate from whatever we talked about on the show?
Well, I think there's definitely a lot to watch right now, and I think what maybe studios should see now is that their fans expect a lot, right? And I think to make movies that make money, because we always see like studios, like if it makes money, they'll make a sequel. Like it's dependent on the other, right? So I think to ensure that you need directors, you need creative people that care about the product and deliver something that's true for the fans, because that way, it'll attract the audience, people will go out and buy it, and makes the studio happy because, brings in money, right? But I think it needs to start first with putting the right people in the right places to make good stuff for us to watch. Right? And I'm hoping I'm pretty optimistic about, upcoming movies, like you said. And I'm hoping that the failures of the DC universe is a lesson, and hopefully it gets better from here. I'm still very optimistic. I have cousins of mine who come up to me, like they're all Marvel fans, and they're like, why do you like DC so much? It's so dark. It's confusing. I'm like, it's these are the characters I grew up with, and I think the greatest graphics engine is your mind, your imagination when you read things, and I think it's built up a lot of like what the characters could be.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping that somehow there's someone out there who could just capture that and just put it on film.
Exactly. As you said, like your cousins who come say, "Oh, why you like this?" It's like you should ask, like, did you know who Captain America was before you saw the films? No, you didn't. But people like Captain America now because he was done right. They did his character right. Honestly, I did not know who Iron Man was when I watched the 2008 Iron Man, like the first REJ movie. I did not know who Iron Man was. I watched that movie and I was like, whoa, like, what is this? Then I went and looked up like because we, as Alex, you said, I also grew up with DC. I grew up watching the Batman animated series, the Superman animated series. Then I grew up watching Justice League. You know, that's how I know these guys. These guys were my only superheroes. They were my like only superheroes until Marvel came and they made their movies, and they made their movies good, and then they made their fans from there. Like I assure you, 80% of the people who go watch these movies did not know who these Marvel heroes were. No, now you can take their names. Somehow in a room of 10 people, 6 people know their names. They definitely know their names. And same thing you say, like for Justice League, Batman, Superman, you don't even have to you don't have to give them a movie to like show who these people are, because a lot of people grew up with Batman. Batman is probably the most popular superhero. Superman, Wonder Woman, like they just need to be done right, and once they are done right, they can be just as big as Marvel or even bigger. You know, so like I was hoping for the same thing too, but you know the failure was just Warner Brothers trying to catch up. They rushed these movies out. They did not have a clear plan, and now it fell apart. So let's hope something actually good can rise up from the ashes. They learn from their mistakes, because if you make the first thing really bad, and if you make the second thing good, it's gonna seem very good. So it's all you can go, you can only go up. You can only go up. So like, yeah, if DC hits their Flash movie, they do the soft reboot thing that's been rumored. I'm not saying that actually doing it, it's just been rumored. And if they do the thing, they, just sky's the limit. So yeah, good luck DC. Hope you make billions of dollars from your fans. Well, thank you, Alex, so much for joining me. I'm sure we could talk for 2 more hours if you wanted to. You gotta keep the episode concise and not let the people get bored. Again, thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed being on the show as well. Hope I get you back for another episode. Hopefully with the Renee and Chris. Hopefully they join us for the next one. No pressure.
Look forward to it.
Thank you for the viewers who've been watching. Again, if you liked what you saw and you want to see more, please like and subscribe to the channel. Gonna be doing more of these shows. News are coming out every week now. I think movies need to come out, and studios are feeling the pressure, financial pressure. And a lot of theaters around the world are actually opening. Tenet opened globally. It's not open like all over America's selected cinemas, but outside of the US, it has opened, and I think they made like $100 million globally from their first weekend, which is like kind of huge in this climate, right? So I think movies now are just gonna be slowly coming out, slowly but surely they will come out. And more stuff to talk about, things we love. So thank you for joining us. I will see you in the next episode. Thank you and goodbye.